NXT starts off with Ricky Saints. He ended up cutting a promo. Not gonna really go that depth of the promo. He basically ends up mentioning how he's the top guy in NXT now and how he's soon gonna be NXT champion. He mentions Trick and Javon leaving NXT, going to the main roster, and all of that. So the main thing I really want to talk about with Ricky Saints is more so what the men's division looks like with Trick Williams, Javon, and what ended up happening in the main event with Femi. Now, it's going to be very interesting to see what happens in the men's division. I am a bit worried about the men's division to a degree, but after tonight's show, it does have some bright spots. It does make me feel a little bit better in terms of the men's division because I'm mainly worried about the main event scene because I don't know who I really want to win the NXT championship. I really don't. And I don't know if I really want another Ricky Saints run. I really don't. Now I will say this. What was the purpose of the Ricky Saints heel turn if Javon Evans was just going to leave any. Now, to be fair, I don't think it's Shawn Michaels' fault because I think maybe the main roster people was like, let's just call him up and just forget about it. So I can't really completely blame Shawn Michaels, but nonetheless, I am I'm very neutral on this because on one hand, the men's division is very lacking. They're definitely gonna call up some more evolved people for sure because when you lose that much talent, especially at the main event scene, yeah, it's gonna be very hard to really capture the importance of the men's division because the men's division was already lacking. So without Javon Evans, Trick, and Oba, it's going to be very lacking now. So the names that I could potentially see possibly getting in the main event scene, Miles Bourne, they've been telling the story with him and Ethan Page of him not following Ethan's advice, so he could be in the main event scene eventually. Um, that's really the only name. Dion Lennox is probably going to be more in the main event scene, more featured now. So this is going to be very interesting to see how this all unfolds, see how they really book the men's main event scene. The mid card scene is fine. You got Ethan, you got Miles Bourne could be in there, Tavion could be in there, Jasper Troy, Channing Stacks. The mid card scene is fine. The main event scene that's gonna be more iffy if I'm being honest. But I am interested. After tonight's show, they did show some promise, so I am interested to see how they rebuild the men's division. So we'll see how this all unfolds. We end up getting Tatum Paxley versus Izzy Dame. I think this is the official blow-off match. I think it is, but I could be wrong. This was a really good match. Arguably better than their first match. I really enjoyed it. Tatum Paxley did pick up the victory. This should be very interesting. I don't know if this is the blow-off match because there was a moment where Thea Hell later in the show ended up doing an open challenge and Izzy Dame ended up taking the challenge for herself before Tatum Paxley was able to get it. So I don't know if Tatum is going to use that as revenge to get another match out of it. I wouldn't mind it, especially due to Izzy Dame being North American champion now. You could run that feud for the title. Now, my only fear is, well, it's not really a fear because I like Tatum Paxley. So if Tatum Paxley was to dethrone Izzy Dame, I really wouldn't be mad at it to a degree because Tatum Paxley winning a championship, I'm not going to be mad at it at all. But so I'm assuming this is the blow off feud. I think it is the best case scenario. I don't know what you go with Tatum Paxley. If I'm Tatum Paxley, if I was booking it, I think Tatum Paxley should dethrone JC Jane again. I know it's going to be kind of, having her dethrone her twice, but I think this time should be the one that cements the end of JC Jane's title reign, in my opinion. Have Tatum Paxley go on an actual reign, have them two be separated, have them do their own thing, be the end of the feud. That's how I would book it personally, but I can see NXT going a completely different route. So I'm very interested to see what's next for these women, especially Izzy Dane becoming your new North American champion due to later in the show. So very interested to see how this all unfolds. And speaking of Izzy Dane, we did end up getting an open challenge due to earlier in the show. This was actually the first thing before the Ricky Saints promo. Thea Hale ended up getting attacked by Blake Moreau. They were supposed to have a North American Championship match, but due to Blake Moreau attacking her, the championship match was called off due to Ava putting her foot down, ended up banning her from the arena, and not giving her, didn't want to reward bad behavior. Thea Hale still wanted to defend the title because she still wants to prove that she's a real champion. She ends up doing an open challenge. Izzy Dane ended up getting in the ring. Tatum Paxley was about to get in the ring, but she ended up using a chainsaw to get through everyone, but she had to turn the chainsaw off. This ended up allowing Izzy Dane to get in the ring first. They was playing a rib injury with Thea Hale, and Izzy Dane was able to pick up the victory, which I actually enjoyed because I've been high on Izzy Dane since the moment she first debuted in NXT. The moment they paired her with Kiana James, I was high on her, and it's just good seeing someone that you really was high on finally get the opportunity to prove their worth, finally get booked in a position to actually be booked in a very prominent spot. It just feels good. It just feels good. It just feels good seeing someone that you invested so much into finally get their time to shine. It just feels good. I'm excited for a reign. I don't know what this means for Blake Monroe though. I think Blake Monroe is probably going to get called up because it just doesn't make sense for her to be in NXT anymore, if I'm being honest. Like, where does she fit? Because she doesn't fit in the title picture because she can't. Izzy Dame's a heel, Blake's a heel. JC Jane's a heel, Blake's a heel. She just doesn't. She doesn't fit anywhere. And then in terms of feuds, there's nowhere for her to feud with. Jordan Grace is on the main roster. Um, Lola Vice, I guess you could run that feud, but they're running a Kalani Jordan Lola Vice feud right now. So in terms of baby faces, the only babyface she could face is Soruka, but even that doesn't make sense because they're still doing the Zarya Soruka thing, and they kind of already had a feud. So it's like, I don't know what you do with Blake Monroe at this point. So I really think they're just calling her up at this point because, in my opinion, I don't understand the reason not giving her the title back. So they have to be calling her up at this point. So that's the only thing I could come up with. But I'm very excited for an Izzy Dane North American Championship reign. So I'm very excited to see how this all unfolds. We get a women's NXT Championship match between JC Jane and Kendall Gray. This was a banger. This was a banger match. Shawn Michaels does a very good job of making JC Jane matches come out to the point where you don't know who's winning. Because I swear, every title defense, I am so surprised that JC James keep winning. I don't know why I keep being surprised that JC Jane keeps winning, but um, this was a banger match. But JC Jane does end up winning due to the help of Fatal Influence. I ain't gonna lie. There was a moment where Fatal Influence was all taken out, where JC, Laney, and Fallon Henley all got taken out. There was a moment where I actually thought that Kendall was gonna win. I do think this was the right choice. I could potentially see them holding this off until Stand and Deliver, have Lane Kendall win there. Now, they did tease a potential Soruka and JC Jane program, but at the same time, they also teased Zarya and Soruka for the millionth time, so we don't know where this is going. I don't really know what's going on with JC Jane. Like I said, I don't mind her holding it because she's been a great champion. Her first run was great, and I think her second run will be great as well. So I don't mind her holding it for longer. I really don't. I really don't know who dethrones her at this point. If it was up to me, I would have just chose Jada Parker. I've been saying that for the longest due to her being extremely over, but we don't know where she's at. I don't know if she's injured. I don't know. But that was my first choice. Or Tatum Paxley. Those are my main two options that I would want to see dethrone JC Jane. But very just see how this all unfolds, to be honest with you. I'm very curious to see who would actually dethrone JC Jane for like completely dethrone her. Like she ain't getting the title back afterwards. So I'm very interested to see how JC Jane continues her reign, to be honest. We get a quick Ethan Page promo. He basically talks about how he's the greatest North American champion of all time. Then you get a bunch of wrestlers come out. You get Channing Stacks comes out, Jasper Troy, Josh Briggs, Tavion Heights, and then Shala and I forgot his last name, but the new NXT guy they've been promoting for a while with a lot of the package, he comes out. You end up getting Tavion arguing with Jasper Troy with the Speed Championship, and then everyone else going after Ethan Page for the North American Championship. Okay, this is what I mean where I kind of like what they're doing with the North American Championship and the Speed title. Now, Charlene Hill, I'm not the biggest fan of him mainly due to his gimmick and also his accent. I don't know if he's faking it or that's his real accent. Part of me feels like he's faking it a bit, but I could be wrong. That could be how he actually talks. But nonetheless, this was a fine segment. It did end in a brawl where he stood tall. I do like what they're doing with Ethan Page. Now, it looks like they're teasing a potential Miles Bourne and Ethan Page feud, or they could be teasing him going after the NXT Championship due to what happened in the main event. You could have potentially Miles Bourne go after the NXT Championship to finally one up Ethan Page. So very interested to see how this all unfolds. I don't know what's going to happen with Ethan Page, but nonetheless, I like what they're doing. Then we finally get the main event, the NXT Championship match between Oba Femi and Leon Slater, and this was a banger. This was a banger match. Loved it from start to finish. Oba Femi did retain the NXT Championship, but what happened afterwards was very shocking. They end up Oba Femi ends up doing his pose, and then they end up cutting to Ava in her office, and then you end up getting Dr. Stone. He ends up telling Ava, "Did you see what Oba Femi did?" And they just show the NXT Championship in the middle of the ring. Oba Femi vacates the title. This raises a lot of questions. He's going to the main roster. All I have to say is Triple H, you cannot fumble Oba Femi. That's number one. Number two, who's going to win the NXT title and who should be in contention for it? In my opinion, I think it comes down to two people that I want to see. Either Dion Lennox or Miles Bourne. I think the story you could tell with those two makes perfect sense. There's no one else I really now. I don't think most people are ready for the NXT Championship, but the most NXT Championship ready people are Ricky Saints, Miles Bourne, and Dion Lennox. Those are the most NXT ready for that championship. No one else really makes much sense. Don't really want to see another Ricky Saints championship reign, if I'm being honest. The person I really want to see the most really is Dion Lennox. That's really who I think should win it. Elevate Dark State, elevate some new up and coming talent, or Miles Bourne. Like I said, they've been telling the story of Ethan Page trying to give Miles Bourne advice, but he's not listening to him. Miles Bourne can finally one up Ethan Page by becoming the NXT champion. I think you could tell that story as well, or you could tell the story of Dion, but he has a thing with Joe Hendry right now. But nonetheless, this raises a lot of questions. Very interested to see what they do, whether it's a battle royal, a tournament, no more contender, whatever. But those are the main three contestants that I would have personally. And I love the way they have Oberfemi went out. Oberfemi went out as a dominant champion, didn't put anybody over. There was no one really to put over in his situation, if I'm being honest. He went out the most dominant way. This was perfect, bro. I'm gonna be honest. NXT has been cooking for the past year. Triple H could take some notes. This is not even. I'm not even trying to diss. I like Triple H, but Triple H could take some notes from Shawn Michaels, man. This was great. This was definitely better than Raw. This was an amazing episode of NXT. You guys let me know your overall thoughts, opinions down below. Make sure you like, comment, subscribe. Leave your opinions in the comment section. Make sure you hit the notification bell so you don't miss any of my content. But yeah, that's it.